Hi there. In this video we'll be covering, is there an app to help you write a book? There's actually an approach that will even bring you better results than an app. So before you let ChatGPT write your book for you, stay tuned and pay attention to these tips. By the end of this video, you will learn some of the best tech resources for writers, how to use ChatGPT when writing a book, and why you shouldn't leave it to an app to do the actual writing. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity. Let's dive in. There are lots of programs that can help you write a book. I look back to when I first got into book writing and ghostwriting in 2018, 2019, and the technology was kind of lagging. There were so many elements, so many pieces that didn't exist back then. Even transcription tools had, still a long way to go. There's so many tech resources available today that can help you write your book, but it's not about just leaving it to apps and technology. It's really about using it to the best of your ability, of staying in control of the process and using these resources to help you in specific tasks. One of the top tools in writing a book is Grammarly. Grammarly is something I've subscribed to. I've used it from time to time. There's really neat tools in terms of the editing process, in terms of the refinement process. It's really helpful when you're working with a manuscript that's already been written partially, somebody else has worked on maybe, or you're working with somebody else to collaborate, because there's all these elements that can tell you, for example, if there's plagiarism in the manuscript. There's a plagiarism checker that is really great. You can actually turn it on and it will show you links where the writing borrows really closely from the original sources. There's opportunities to refine the text. There's opportunities to get better word choices and make sure that the writing flows. I think Grammarly's editing tools are a little bit stronger than Microsoft Word's. I use Microsoft Word's a lot as well. There's little things that you can do to really punch up the editing talent. And, I think about Microsoft Word, for example, with the ability to turn on passive sentences and to alert you when there are passive sentences. Passive sentences, when overused, can really drag down a writing piece. And all these little things that you can do can help to better prepare you to write more powerful words. Whether it's Grammarly, Microsoft Word, or another tool, there's some great resources there to refine text. Another opportunity is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is very popular, and other large language models as well, but we're focusing on ChatGPT. It's interesting because ChatGPT can do so much with lists, coming up with ideas, outlining. And I use it when I'm working on a book. I use it in those ways. I use it a lot in terms of coming up with ideas. As a book ghostwriter, when I meet with clients, we'll typically work through different chapters of the book and different topics, especially if the topic of the book is not something that's within my close skill set, within my knowledge base. It's something I might be vaguely familiar with, but not an expert in. I will consult ChatGPT and have it come up with ideas for me. So when I meet with the author to talk through different areas of the book, we can make sure that our blind spots are covered. We can make sure that there's everything accounted for, and we can then talk through these ideas. So when ChatGPT brings up X, Y, and Z, then I can talk to the author about it and say, does this matter? Is this important? And we can, have a conversation about it. Outlining is another way that ChatGPT is great. Book outlining before ChatGPT felt like it took forever. It took weeks, months even, to get an outline together. And you could, in the matter of minutes, write down an idea that you have for a book, ask ChatGPT to write you an outline, and boom, there's an outline. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's an outline. And it's great to be able to have a starting point, and ChatGPT gives you an awesome starting point in a lot of different ways. Two other tech tools that are awesome for book writing are Otter and Rev. These are transcription websites, and what you can do is you can upload audio to these platforms, and within minutes it will send back an AI-generated transcript that's 90% accurate. It's awesome to be able to get that kind of material back so quickly, and it's awesome to be able to track your conversations that way, because then you can really keep everything under wraps. You can really understand exactly where everything is. Maybe you talked about a specific topic 3 weeks ago. Think about having to comb through audio to find the section that you talked about this one thing. Now with Otter or Rev, you can just go and search for the specific terms that you talked about, and there it is. There's the spot that you want to reflect on and review. You can hit play and listen to the audio. A lot of times when I'm working on a book, I will upload the audio, I will download the automatic transcription, then refine the automatic transcription and turn that into chapters for a book. So it's great to be able to make that kind of progress. Previously, before transcription tools really came up to speed, you would either need to do the transcription yourself, listening to hours and hours of audio, mind-numbing, or you would have to pay somebody to do it for you, and it was like $1 every minute. And it was expensive. Now these things cost, Rev costs $1 for every 4 minutes of automatic transcription. And Otter's a monthly rate that you get access to a threshold of minutes of transcription. And it's so powerful to be able to have those tools at our disposal now. And I feel like the tools are only getting better and better and better, which is awesome. While there are so many different tools to help you write the book, it's not so great when you have the tools write the book for you. This is an issue I come across a lot with ChatGPT and manuscripts. People want ChatGPT to write the book for them, to come up with ideas for them, to bring their whole process together and just churn it out. And it's such a disheartening thing. I know authors who do it. I've seen authors do it. It's really disheartening because it takes the element of you out of the book. When you write a book, it's your opportunity to put your personal stamp on your story, to put your message out in the world, to connect with one reader, and to build that connection into something. And when you are giving away that power to ChatGPT or another platform, it really means that your book is missing that hidden element, that special piece. It's not enough just to say, I wrote a book. You want to have a great book. You want to have a powerful book in order to reap the most rewards. You don't want to have a book that somebody goes on Amazon and says, I feel like this has been written already. I've read this book before. This is redundant. These topics are pretty similar to things I found in other books. At best, that's what you're going to get with ChatGPT. ChatGPT takes the collective writings of the entire universe and spits it out into a book form for you. So the message that you would be sharing in a ChatGPT written book isn't unique. It's not special. It's not different. So how do you stand apart from the rest of the crowd when you're writing a book that sounds like everything else that's ever been written? It's not a great idea. It's not a great strategy. I've worked with authors who have inserted little elements of ChatGPT written text or written their entire manuscript in ChatGPT text. And I always tell them to rewrite it. I always encourage them to rewrite it. I remember when ChatGPT came out, and I told myself, I'm going to try to write a book with ChatGPT. And because I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the hometown of James Buchanan, the 15th president, I decided I was going to write a biography about James Buchanan using ChatGPT. And I spent about 2 hours working on this thing, and it was a disaster. It was a complete mess. The information was not accurate, and it was easy to refute. It wasn't even close to accurate, and it was boring and flat. I feel like if you're a pretty good writer, your writing's going to be better than ChatGPT's writing. It just wasn't good, and I abandoned the project after a couple hours. There's the philosophical divide of whether it's right to do it, and then there's the other divide of whether it's the best way to do it. And I think in both cases, it's not. I think that your book should be you. It should be representative of your voice, of your stories, of your messages. It's great to be able to consult these tools, but it's another thing entirely to have these tools do the writing for you. It really takes the power out of your hands to own your message and to share your story in the most powerful way possible. Another thing that's interesting for me about that whole process is the time commitment involved in cleaning up an AI-generated manuscript. When I was working on my James Buchanan book, I was spending hour after hour refining this flat, monotonous text and trying to make it sound better, which wasn't fun, and I felt like my writing was more compelling than what was coming out of it. So that was a problem. There's a lot of time involved with refining and getting the message right and cleaning it up. I can't even think about how many hours that would take 12, 24, 36, 48. You know, it could take months for you, once you have this actual draft, to turn it into something readable and usable. Which is funny to me because when I work as a book ghostwriter with an author client, one of my big things is being able to be efficient with our time. You know, I meet with authors every week for about an hour a week, and typically we can get a draft done, if their book's straightforward, get a draft done in 3 to 6 months. That's 12 to 24 hours of the author's commitment of time. You compare that to the time commitment needed to clean up an AI-generated manuscript. And I think it's probably easier in terms of time commitment to write a book with a ghostwriter with actual professional help than it is to write a book with AI. And the ghostwritten book is going to be stronger. It's going to make sure that your message is front and center. It's going to focus on your specific audience and connecting with them directly. And it's going to help you take the next step in your journey. You know, whatever the outcome you want from this book, whether it's leads and opportunities for your business, whether it's to establish yourself as a thought leader, you know, whether it's to accomplish a goal, a life goal. Whatever your goal is, working with a ghostwriter is going to help you achieve it and accomplish it in ways that these tech tools aren't necessarily going to be able to provide. You know, this isn't just about having a book and publishing it and slapping a cover on it and putting it up on Amazon. This is about something that lasts, something that endures, something that's great. You know, something that people are going to want to revisit years later and say, wow, this book is awesome. This book moved me. You want to move somebody with your book. You don't want to just put out a book that just sits on a bookshelf and gets unread. You want to actually move somebody. You want to change their life. You want to empower them to live their best life. And you want to empower yourself to live your best life through writing this book. And using AI and ChatGPT to write the book specifically is really diminishing your outcomes, your opportunities, and your beliefs in yourself. Believe in yourself, believe in your story, and believe that the message is worth telling the right way. Now, this video is all about whether an app can help you write your book. And while, you know, there's some variation in terms of what an app can do for you, I actually have a tool that can help, and it's free. It's a course that I recorded with a dear ghostwriting client of mine, Nate Woodbury. It's called Good Book Blueprint. Go to goodbookblueprint.com. You can click the link below. And through this video course, you can learn all about the entire book process, you know, from beginning to end, from the idea phase to the writing phase, the production phase and editing, publication and what comes next. I want to be able to empower you as you take this next step and tell your story. And this course, I hope, will be able to fill in some gaps for you and help answer some questions that you might have. Remember, good ghostwriting makes great books. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.